everybody to the light beer battle of the...
Early report, the Cardinals, winners of their first game of the year last week, trying to find the solution again today, and they're leading the Giants 7-0. A 50-yard pass from Jim Hart. Meanwhile, Buffalo leading New England 3-0 in the first. Gary Danielson, 1st and 10 from his own 3-yard line after that great punt by Greg Coleman. And Horace King gets out to the 4.5-yard line, so he picked up not quite 2 yards on the play. Another score coming in now, a precinct heard from Green Bay, 3 and Philadelphia 0 in the first. This telecast presented by authority of the National Football League, intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Minnesota Vikings and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd and 9 as Monty Clark squints through the sun to see if the Lions can claw their way away from their own goal line. A lot of movement that time. Lawrence Gaines, number 38, came up out of his stance. Dexter Bussey carrying it. But I think that someone moved, and Gaines was certainly obvious. He's spelling Horace King.
Well, they got mixed up on the snap count.
The legal procedure against Detroit. Luther Blue bringing in a play. And Jesse Thompson goes out. We have 7 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. No score.
Offense, penalty decline.
So it was Lawrence Gaines who came up out of his stance. Penalty declined. It is now 3rd and 7. The ball is almost on the 6-yard line, so they've been able to move it 3 yards. Second man, Dexter Bussey, with Jim White having him by the shoulders. Bussey dropped at the 9-yard line. And now, here comes a special unit led by number 15, Tom Skladany, who will be asked to kick it out. And of course, the Vikings figure to have good field position. Kevin Miller goes back to handle the ball, and Kevin standing at midfield. So Tom Skladany will be kicking it out of the Detroit end zone.
The Viking defense did their job. Forced a punt. Should give them good field position.
Skladany.
That you really like,
yes.
Field position.
So important, Jim. If you get field position, you're going to be in business.
Nobody coming, and Skladany gets it over to the 45-yard line. Kevin Miller picks it up there to the 40, spun around and dropped as he got to the 38-yard line. So Kevin Miller making the return. The man to hit him was Jim Sokolowski. So no score with 6 minutes and 25 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Lions and the Vikings.
I'm Lynn Swan of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I hope you'll do it the American way on Election Day. Go to the polls on Tuesday and vote for the candidate of your choice.
Pittsburgh's Roy Gerela has just kicked a 27-yard field goal with 6:20 left in the first quarter. Pittsburgh 3 and New Orleans 0. Meanwhile, the Vikings, who was stymied on the Detroit 45, actually have picked up 7 yards in an exchange of punts. They put it in play 1st and 10 on the Detroit 38-yard line. Slot left, and Tarkington is looking left, running away from Al Baker, throws it over the middle. It is intercepted by O'Neal at the 25, and that will break a string for Tarkington.
Well, when you get this field position, you got to take advantage of it. Tarkington, in this case, couldn't find anyone open. He could have run. When he scrambles, he's buying time, and he actually threw a poor ball here.
A disillusioned Tarkington. He had thrown 80 passes without an interception, but Ed O'Neal picked off his 3rd of the year, and it's 1st and 10 Detroit on their own 26-yard line. And we'll see what Gary Danielson can do this time. He sets up a screen to Freddie Scott, and he is upended by Nate Wright, who came up quickly, and number 43 just cut his legs right out from under him. Right now, as you see, a big number 76, and that is Carl Baldishweiler. An interesting battle going on because Baldishweiler, a rookie, 22 years old, is up against Jim Marshall, who is at least 40 and has spent 19 years in the NFL. That's quite an interesting assignment, fellas.
Yes, it is. Big Jim Marshall.
So second down for Danielson, and he'll set it up. And he's going over the middle, no good. It was intended for Freddie Scott, and Bobby Bryant was right there to stick his finger in it and knock it away. Fellas, let's take a look and see how Carl Bolschweiler did head-to-head with Jim Marshall. Here they go. He just lets him go outside, Jim.
Yes. Sometimes that's not too bad. You let him go outside and he goes around the passer steps up into the pocket. So I would call that a standoff, really.
So it's 3rd and 9 on the Detroit 27. Danielson trying to get his offense in motion. He almost got White coming out of his stance, but he held on, and the pass overthrown, intended for Luther Blue. Fred McNeil, the middle linebacker, had dropped back, and again, let's look at the rookie Carl Bolschweiler.
Well, we have a passing situation where Jim Marshall is running a stunt, taking an inside. So he just turned him over to the guard. Did his job.
So Tom Skladany will get off his 3rd punt in this first quarter with 5 minutes and 31 seconds to go. Skladany kicking from his own 15, and Kevin Miller standing alone on the Minnesota 35. Skladany with a good snap from center, and arrows one over towards Kevin Miller, and it takes a Detroit bounce and gets inside the 25, and Nat Terry will down it at the 23-year line, and that's where Tarkenton and company will put it in play. 1st and 10 on the Viking 23. No score. 5 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first, and a couple of reminders. First of all, the CBS Sports Spectacular World Middleweight Championship, Hugo Coro versus Rodrigo Valdez. And the CBS Sports Spectacular with the Stuyvesant Handicap. That's for 3-year-olds and up. Seattle Slew will be making a farewell appearance next Saturday, 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific. 1st and 10 on the Minnesota 23. In motion goes Sammy White. He's picked up by Luther Bradley. Meanwhile, Chuck Foreman is picked up at the line of scrimmage and fights his way for maybe a yard. Another note about the Minnesota running game. Minnesota runners have averaged only 3.2 yards a carry. Only Atlanta has a lower running average of 3.1.
Yes.
And speaking of Atlanta, they're down 3-0 to San Francisco in the early going, a 20-yard field goal by Ray Wershing. 2nd and 9. Again, Sammy White in motion. Targeting play action fake to Ricky Young. Now a wobbly pass that is caught by Ahmad Rashad at the 39-yard line, and they pick up the 1st down.
Well, every play, Tarkenton's been in a different formation. Here's a play action rollout. He comes around, he has the option of running or throwing off a motion. Now watch this, makes the fake of the draw. He comes out, he can throw deep or he can throw short. 1st down, good execution.
1st and 10 on the Viking 39. Rashad is left, White is right, Chuck Foreman up the middle, and he's buried by Lyons. And the first man to hit him was Woodcock. Al Baker came over and hit him from behind. A little bit of a late hit, and Foreman kind of looking down at Baker. Didn't say much to the rookie, who is 6'6" and 260. Another precinct heard from. Jim Zorn, left-handing Seattle out in front of the Bears 7-0. Of course, the Bears went into that game having lost 6 straight. 2nd and 10, the ball on the Viking 39. Rashad is left and White is right. So they put him back as a wide receiver instead of having Sammy White in the backfield. And there's the draw to Chuck Foreman, and he got out to about the 41, a pickup of 2, so it should be 3rd and 8.
Well, Jim, they haven't gotten that running game going too much today.
Yeah, it's very difficult, it seems, to get, that rhythm today.
Fellow we're looking for to see if he'll handle the ball is Ricky Young. Gained more than 10 yards and only 1 carry this year. And of course, as a senior, he was averaging almost 7 yards a carry at Jackson State, so it's a tough transition for Ricky Young. There's Ricky Young now, number 34. He's on a wing. And Tarkinen is going over the middle to Ricky Young, and they wrap him up as he gets across midfield for the first down. So if he doesn't run, he'll be at the other end of the pass.
All right, as we look at this from the end zone camera, we're going to see Tarkinen doing his main thing. This is a little roll around by Ricky Young over the middle, which is used a tremendous amount of time by Tarkenton and a lot of other quarterbacks, because when you roll those backs out of there, you roll two of them out, sometimes very difficult to cover.
1st and 10 on the Lion 48, and for Ricky Young, that's the 48th catch he has made this year. Play action fake to Foreman, Tarkinen throwing to Young, who makes a catch on hip. He was missed 6 games with a severely pulled hamstring, was there to push him out.
Quick count, sprint out by Tarkington, first down play. He figures to pick up 3 or 4 yards in this type of play. The ball was thrown a little bit behind Ricky Young. Hunter makes the tackle.
And Coach, you know, a very interesting point here is when you throw this many passes to your backs and everyone else, your line really block pass so much until sometimes they don't really block run that well.
So it is 2nd and 6 for Tarkington and the Vikings on the Lion 44. No score, 1:53 to go in the first, and there goes Foreman. Across the 40, dropped down at the 38. Charlie Weaver, number 59, was there to hit him. Bud Grant taking a look at the proceedings, and it's always worthwhile to look at Bud Grant. Overall, starting the year with 116 victories, 9 Central Division championships, an NFL Western Conference title. In fact, he's always been a winner. His first